Hello. Welcome back. It's good to see you again. Now, today, we're going to be looking at anger. Now, anger has quite a bad reputation. Most people aren't particularly keen to admit experiencing it or experiencing it very often, at least. But it is something that we all experience, which suggests that it must serve some function for us. So, rather than attempt to deny it or disassociate ourselves from it, it's better to understand it. This will ultimately allow us to manage it better. Okay, so let's begin by looking at the different types of anger, because there is more than one. The first type is pure anger, and the function that this serves is to alert us to some kind of mistreatment, and the energy that it creates is designed to motivate us to protect ourselves from that mistreatment. But there is another type of anger which we probably experience more often. And this anger is a cover or a way of coping with another emotion, typically anxiety, sometimes also depression. So, more often than not, it is the case that an angry person is actually a very anxious person, or maybe a very sad or depressed person. Ooh. The way it works is that we take the energy from the anxiety or the depression, which tends to just reside within us. And we transform it into an energy that can be projected outwards onto another person or thing. So in the short term, it brings us relief because we don't have to experience the negative energy. But the relief is only short term. And over the longer term, the anger is unhelpful because it distracts us away from our real discomfort and stops us from resolving this. So, what should we do? I'm going to start by drawing you a diagram. Now, this is a diagram that if you have been along before, you will recognize. And it's a diagram that helps us to understand our experiences. By breaking them down into four parts. Okay, so here's the diagram. Now, basically what we're saying here is that something happens, the event, that triggers a thought, which triggers a feeling, which triggers a particular behavior. So, if we are thinking about anger, that would sit here. So if we want to work out which type of anger we're experiencing, the pure variety, or anger as a coping strategy for another emotion, we have to look here at our thoughts. Okay, so if it is a pure anger, your thoughts will be alerting you to the risk or actual harm that may be physical or emotional. If it's the second type of anger, your thoughts will be linked to your self-esteem, your value, your worth. You may think along the lines of, they don't care about me, they don't respect me, they dismissing me, ignoring me, rejecting me, something like that. If your thoughts, once you identify them, suggest that your anger is pure and it is alerting you to significant harm or the risk of that, you need to use the energy that it creates to protect yourself, to get yourself physically away from that harm. However, in the more likely event that your anger is actually a cover for anxiety or depression being created by the thoughts we've identified that are linked to your self-esteem, there is a separate set of steps that you need to take. First of all, write the thought down in as much detail as you can. This will be helpful. It will enable you to step back a little from it, and in the space that is created you can begin to think. Then you need to assess the accuracy of that thought. Begin by looking at the evidence that supports it. Has this person behaved like this before? Does their current behaviour suggest a pattern? Or is this person a stranger and it just really feels as if they don't value you? Next, you need to look at the evidence that contradicts the thought you've identified. So, this person, do they behave in a different way at different times? Is this stranger maybe responding to something else? Sometimes we can feel something really strongly and that makes us believe that it's true. But feelings aren't facts. Often, a good question to ask yourself when you are searching around for contradictory evidence, which can be hard to find when you are very invested in a thought, is what would you say to a friend who came to you with a similar issue? Okay, so then you need to think about, in light of the evidence for and against that you've pulled together, what's actually going on here? Is it the case that this particular interaction, this current interaction, has actually opened a door to the past where maybe you were treated carelessly? Is it the case that how you feel now is more related to that experience than this one? It may be the case, or it may be the case that the person in front of you is treating you in a similarly careless way. Unfortunately, we do seem to be drawn to people who treat us the way we've always been treated. But the point here is to introduce some thought into your experience. Anger is very strong, and the reason that it is strong and can sweep us away is because nature has designed it in its pure form to protect us. But when it is used as a cover for anxiety or depression, it doesn't do that. It just tends to make things more complicated because it prevents us from dealing with our core issues. So, in the short term, you need to become aware that this is a way that you tend to deal with anxiety and depression. Maybe not all the time, but some of the time. And you need a calm down plan so that you can think in the way that we're discussing today. To do that, you need to get good at identifying your anger, get good at knowing when the temperature on it is rising, and know when to remove yourself from the situation, ideally physically, and if that's not possible, emotionally. And you can do that by reminding yourself that things might not be as they first appear, and that you do have a tendency to cover other emotions with anger. And you need to begin to monitor how often, how frequently this is happening, so that you can become more of a observer of your anger than a participant of it. It will make things simpler, easier to work through. This does take practice, but it's very possible with practice. And then, over the longer term, you need to work on what underlies your anxiety or your depression, the belief or beliefs about your value or lack of, your fear of being dismissed, ignored, rejected. Now, that's a bigger piece of work than we can cover here, and I do look at this throughout these role plays, but I'm also going to put a link to a really good self-help book that can set you on the right path here, and I'll put that in the description. Okay, so that's the end of our therapy session. But I'm going to do a little sleep induction for you if you would now like to fall asleep, if you'd now like to let go of your day. So, if that's the case, if your eyes aren't already closed, you can close them now and get comfortable in a position that you feel able to fall asleep in. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, allow any remaining tension to be released. in and exhale, releasing any remaining tension. It is now time to let go of your day. Any thoughts and worries that remain in your mind, you can allow them to soften and move to the edge, the periphery of your awareness. It is now time to sleep. 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 Everything is just as it should be. Your work today is done. There is nothing more for you to do. Everything is okay. You are okay. You can let go and allow your body to rest. Allow your mind to regenerate and prepare for tomorrow. You can now drift off into a deep, deep sleep, from which you will awake fully refreshed and ready to face your day. Sleep. 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 All remaining thoughts, worries, plans, regrets, all of these can be put to one side and, if necessary, revisited tomorrow with a fresh mind that will be better able to deal with them. It is time now to let go. It is okay to let go. You have done enough for today. There is nowhere else for you to be, nothing else for you to do but sleep. 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 Warm and comfortable.